teams have descended on Fort Worth. The madness of March is behind us, and that can mean only one thing. It's April anarchy in women's gymnastics. These are the NCAA championship.
They replay in your memory, reappear before your mind's eye.
It was amazing. Oh, I'm gonna cry. Yes.
The small steps on the long road.
Top-notch excellent.
That was spectacular.
I feel empowered. We're doing all of yours.
Moments filled with meaning led to a moment of truth. This one.
Wow, that is just perfection unlocked.
For Alabama, on fire.
Holy cannoli.
What a finish.
So remember all you've achieved. For now is the time to climb that final step.
Just as a good reminder, this is what we're here to do.
Welcome to Fort Worth, Texas for the 2025 NCAA Women's Gymnastics Championships. A powerful message brought to life by Florence Pugh, star of Marvel Studios' new movie, Thunderbolts, only in theaters May 2nd. Welcome to Dickies Arena. The athletes are warmed up. They're preparing for semifinal number 1, the first semifinal of 2 semifinal sessions. Oklahoma, Florida, Missouri, Alabama will be in this session. The later session headlined by the number 1 team in the country, the defending champ, the LSU Tigers. Hello everyone, I am joined by a couple of Olympic medalists, Allie Raisman, Sam Peshek. Allie, let's start with you. Set up this session for us this afternoon.
So top 2 teams are going to advance to the final, and Oklahoma and Florida are the favorites, but you can't forget about Missouri and Alabama. Missouri's having one of their best seasons yet, and Alabama, they didn't quite start the season off the way they would have wanted to, but they're certainly peaking at the right time.
So a couple of underdogs there, but Sam, after last season, the talk's been about the Oklahoma Sooners. A meltdown last year at this competition, but looking for redemption here this year.
Yeah, they had some uncharacteristic mistakes that prevented them from qualifying to the finals, but they won the last 6 of 10 championships, so they've been really dominant. They're hoping to get back to business, and if you're looking for any data to support that, get this. More than 50% of their scores this season have been 9 or higher. That's what makes them a favorite in today's competition.
Oklahoma definitely locked in. Some legacy programs here in this session. Oklahoma, they've won 6 titles. Alabama, also 6. In Florida, they've got 3. But the Missouri Tigers are here too. And for more on them, let's go to the 4th member of our team, Taylor Davis. Taylor?
Well, John, it's been a historic season for Missouri. The program's first ever 198 night session at SEC's and advancing to the NCAA championship. But head coach Shannon Welker told me there's been a shift in perspective. It's no longer enough to just be here. They're here to contend for a title and believe they have the talent to do it. They'll be starting on floor today, a huge event for them. So like Amari Celestine told me, we've been pedal to the metal all season. We're not letting up here today.
Absolutely not, Taylor. Shannon Welker's got them dialed in, and they're all going to get things going. This is semifinal number 1. Only 2 teams will go to the NCAA final section. Welcome back to Dickies Arena, Fort Worth, Texas, so we get ready for rotation number 1. Here is your meet format. All 4 teams compete simultaneously. You will see a whole lot of gymnastics today. 6 athletes per event. The top 5 scores count. If you've been following us all year, you know that. 6 judges now on each event. We saw 4 in the regional round. Now it goes to 6. They drop the high and the low and average the 4. And of course, the stream team is back on ESPN+. They're providing coverage of all the events this year. They cover specific teams, and we are joined by some great athletes. Kennedy Baker, Anastasia Webb will cover Alabama, Florida. Bridget Sloan and Trinity Thomas, a couple Gators. They'll be following Oklahoma and Missouri in this first session. Our 3rd session, Anastasia and Kennedy will cover Michigan State, Utah, and Bridget and Trinity will have LSU and UCLA. So that is a great addition to our coverage. As always, you get to see a whole lot of gymnastics. You should see all of it. What you should do, guys, is set up the ESPN Plus stream and then have us on the big screen, and you get it all.
I just want to know how many All-Americans and national championships collectively that group has. It's an incredible group.
That, absolutely. We'll count those up later. Here's Jordan Paradise getting things started for Alabama on vault, their first event.
She's been so strong in this lead-off position, hop forward, but really nicely stretched body positions in the air.
Oklahoma starts off the competition on the uneven bars. Florida will be on balance beam. Missouri on the floor exercise. And here is Oklahoma, and Danny Sievers getting things going.
Danny is an athlete that's the first one on the floor and the last one to leave the gym. Coaches say she is the hardest worker. Sticking these dismounts for Oklahoma will be critical. Coaches talk a lot about the momentum. Sticks are often contagious. So close, just a half a tenth on that step.
Florida gets the lucky draw starting on beam, guys. You've done the beam. How hard is it for Florida to start on this event? Such a tough event as we see Skylar Drazer getting things going.
Well, you can't change it, so you have to view it as a positive. And a team like Florida, they're ranked second on beam, so it's a really strong event for them to get things going here. Skylar is one of those athletes that is the most strong-willed mentally, which is why she's the perfect person to be in this lead-off position for Florida.
This is called the two-box in the business. Is Raina Light in Missouri, right hand of your screen. They start on their best event, the floor exercise.
And Skylar on beam, she told me she prefers going first because she still feels warmed up and she has less time to get in her head.
Would be a really big deal. I was going to say if she would start with a stick, but it was a hit. That was a really good routine. They're ranked second on beam, but it was their lowest scoring event at regional, so that's an area of improvement for Florida.
Yeah, and the SEC championships, they came off a record score on bars and then went to beam and let that title slip away. So important start for Florida Gators.
And these athletes are all competing on podium, which is like a stage, and it often feels bouncier. So when you're watching these athletes on an event like floor, they have to adjust their timing, and then the lights in the arena are also really bright, so they've got to get really quickly aware of where they are.
Karis German, number 2 to go for Alabama, following a 9.8125.
1.5. Big hop forward vault, in my opinion, might be the toughest event to start in because you have so much adrenaline at the beginning of the competition. You got to settle in there.
That first leadoff spot is so critical to start these teams off on the right note, and Raina doing a great job for Missouri.
And a great event, as I said, their best event. They're ranked number 4 in the nation on the floor exercise are the Missouri Tigers. Sam, you mentioned vault. Vault's so critical because you can do what is basically a 10-0 vault, a perfect vault from board to mat. But it is the event where you can go from a 10 to a 9-8 so quickly if you take a big hop, like we saw from German moments ago. We'll see what that score is here in a minute as Lily Peterson, just a freshman, second person to go. Danny Sievers, a 9.825. Good start score for her.
I have been so impressed by this freshman class at Oklahoma. They have a 98.6% hit rate for Oklahoma. They have been such an asset for this team. And Lily on this dismount, she's going to do a double layout. Watch her body position. Great. She's very consistent. Judges want to see you keep a consistent shape throughout the double layout. Well done.
I think that might have been the best routine I've seen from her.
Lily's consistency is her superpower. It's hard to believe she's a freshman.
And the way she settles into these dismounts, watch her knees when her feet hit the mat. She bends and just absorbs the mat better than almost anyone out there.
Lily from White Bear Lake, Minnesota, and flips gymnastics. Actually, KJ Kindler, head coach of the Oklahoma Sooners. Her sister, one of the coaches, her sister Lori, one of the coaches there at Flips Gymnastics.
Lily got a 9.95 at the SEC Championships. I expect her score to be just as big as that.
And I think for Oklahoma, that bar rotation is so big for them because they're tremendous on bars, and I feel like they should have an advantage over almost all the teams in the field. And if they don't get that advantage on bars, I think they put themselves in a tough spot. Obviously, Florida, tremendous on bars. Every team is good, but they really, to me, stand out, especially the way they land their dismount. You can see all the decimal places. Again, the reason so many decimal places for the first time this season, they're averaging 4 scores. Again, 6 judges per event. Drop the high, drop the low. You average the remaining 4. Thus, we're testing your math skills at home as we see Anya Pilgrim will be the second Gator after Skylar Drazer.
Really enjoy watching this athlete on beam because it doesn't matter how much pressure or what stage she's on. You can see her front foot had a hiccup and moved to the left, but she does not react. She just takes a breath and moves on. That's really a veteran move, especially in an event like balance beam. Very easily, one small mistake can turn into a really big mistake or even a fall. That's not usually what happens with Anya. She just has such a cool, calm demeanor.
Judges are looking for that 180-degree split. They'll take a deduction if the legs are not even.
Bringing in Hannah Horton for the Missouri Tigers on floor exercise, a 9.7875 for Raina White. That seems like it may be a good score. You do not want to see scores in the 9.7s at this competition. If you're counting those scores, you're going to put yourself in trouble as far as advancing.
This is such a strong event for Missouri, but the critical thing for them and every team on floor is the landings right here, holding those foot positions down. That's one of the biggest deductions the judges are looking for on this event.
And Sam, it's so hard to do that when you have adrenaline and so much excitement, and then you add the bounce of the podium.
While Hannah Horton was going on floor moments ago, Corinne Benoggin for Alabama. She's following a 9.7875. Landings have been a problem for Alabama on vault most of the season, but how about this?
She scored back-to-back 9.9s at regionals. That was controlled. Her body precision, you could tell her abs were squeezed during that landing.
Addison Fada now on bars. I'm just still amazed Sam could tell her abs were squeezed.
In order to be good at gymnastics, you have to squeeze every single part of your body, but keep your mind relaxed. And that is so hard to do. Addison stuck both of her bar dismounts at the regional final. They're looking for her to do the same. She's going to do the same dismount we just saw from Lily. Just, I think, a half a tenth on that.
The tiniest of hops for Fada Peterson right before her, a 9.9125. Well done. Anya Pilgrim, a 9.85. Now Victoria Wynn for the Gators.
A Nodi back handspring, very difficult and unique series for Victoria on beam. She is a grad student for Florida and competed a lot this past year. She actually started the season a little rougher because she wasn't living in the moment. And I remember being a senior and having so much pressure on, this is the last SECs, this is the last this is the last that. And it can be an overwhelming thought, but they've been working really hard to flip that mentality. And now she's really making the most of it.
I like this dismount back handspring into 1.5. If you have to get a lot more power, typically we see gymnasts do a round off 1.5. But because she goes for the back handspring, it really shows her strength to be able to get the height to complete the 1.5 twist.
Hannah Horton, a 9.825 in the second spot for Missouri. Now a freshman for the Missouri Tigers, Kaya Tonskinen. Back over on vault, Kylie Kwame will be the fourth gymnast to go. Banagan, a 9.85 for that great Yurchenko 1.5. Judges tough on vault.
Under-rotated. You can see her upper body was behind her feet when she landed. That's going to be a deduction for Kylie on vault.
On vault, if you take a step back, it's an automatic 1/10 deduction plus the additional step backwards.
Yeah, the judges extra hard when you take that backward step on that 1.5.
And on floor, when we spoke to the Missouri coaches, they told us that they're really working on the athletes keeping their legs together and their feet together in the round-off back handspring. We have a different angle from the judges, but from their angle, they may see that leg separation.
This is an athlete that's really stepped up the last couple of meets. She's really cranked it up a notch in her scoring potential. Really phenomenal athlete. Is going to compete later this year for Finland.
Actually just saw her mom prior to the competition, said, yeah, we're hitting the road next week. So she's right back at that international competition as we see Leanne Wong take to the balance, being one of the best in the country, almost won the all-around here last year. As we look at the score tower on your right, those lightly shaded scores, you can see one score for the teams at the top there that is lightly shaded. That is the low score for that team, and currently the one that they would drop if all other scores are higher.
Leanne is so good at adjusting on this event. She's able to finesse her skills better than anyone I've seen, but she looks really on today.
Faith Torres, she has been a star for the Sooner team all season long. She follows Faith's 9.8375.
And Faith on bars, watch the height of this pack salto from the high bar to the low bar. It's higher than most athletes on that.
Leanne finishing, getting her ball off the end. Oh, step forward.
And Faith, just another small 0.5 step on those. I think these competitions, those 0.5 steps or hops on those dismounts might make a big difference at the end. And watch the height on this. Really does a good job of watching the low bar.
You know, we haven't seen too many stuck landings. I think these teams are a little nervous. They need to settle in and let their body come to the mat, if you will, and not put so much pressure on the stick. It's such a mental game.
One of the veterans for this Alabama Crimson Tide, Gabby Gladio, she can fly here.
Wow. She really looked like she missed her hand on the block, but that's how incredible of an athlete she is. She's able to put it to her feet, and it was really good.
Yeah, Sam, I actually thought she was going to land short. It looked like she bent her elbows more than she usually does. That was really well done that she was able to get herself around and flip fast enough.
One of the biggest personalities, not just great gymnasts in this competition, is Amari Celestine from Missouri. Here she is.
Amari is the only athlete from Missouri that we're going to see in the all-around.
She's usually the athlete that gets the scores moving up. She got a 9.9 last time she competed, and every score after her is just elevated from there.
Leanne Wong for Florida, just a 9.8 for Leanne Wong. That is a low score on that event. They hit her on that landing for sure. As Selena Harris Miranda, a transfer from UCLA into Florida this year, she has been outstanding for them all season long.
Yeah, she's even scored a 10 this year on this event. Left-hand side of your screen. Triple series, back handspring layout, back handspring. Perfectly straight knees throughout that combination.
And Amari does a fantastic job of keeping her foot in. She kept her foot on releve. I think if she put her heel down, she would have gone out of bounds. So incredible body awareness. Out of bounds is, of course, 110.
Well, Missouri wants to be undeniable, and moments like that is what makes them undeniable.
You can't overstate that 10, because once we get down to the end of this competition, again, 2 teams advancing, you get down to the end, that 10th, even though it happened in the first rotation, could be the difference.
Selena is an athlete that I can just watch her gymnastics all day. The way that she competes beam, it's like she's just hanging out on the floor. And that's exactly what the judges are looking for.
She's been open about being loose, and when she's having fun and loose, that's when she's at her best. Another amazing athlete that can just lock in those landings.
One of the best on the uneven bars, NCAA champ last year. Here's Audrey Davis. Not a lot of high scores so far on this first rotation, only 199 or higher.
Audrey is ranked #1 in the country on this event, and you will see why. Watch her feet, they're glued together. And then when she gets up on the high bar, the flexibility that's required going into this dismount. Most people don't have that flexibility. I certainly don't right here. Didn't quite make that dismount all the way around. Judges could take maybe about a 10th off for that.
Lily Hudson getting ready to go on vault. Gabby Gladio a 9.85. Keep in mind, individual titles at stake here as well for the individual events, and those doing all 4 events, the all-around title at stake.
Your kid's a 1.5. She's an All-American on vault and in the all-around. Couldn't find the stick on this vault, but man, she gets so high off the table.
Not many gymnasts block off the table like Lily Hudson. I've watched it so many times to try to study it, and she turns her wrists and elbows out, and that's, I think, how she blocks so much higher than most athletes.
Sophomore Kennedy Griffin, she was perfect on this event earlier this season, got a 10. Currently ranked at the end of the regular season 14th, tied for 14th on this event. They need a big one here. No 9.9s for Missouri on floor. That's unusual.
Wow, the height on that, she opened up so early. Judges want you to think, did she have to take a step? Or did she want to take a step? That's what you got to ask yourself is that lunge controlled?
Sophomore Alyssa Arana for the Gators anchor. She follows a 9.95 from Harris Miranda, the highest score of this first rotation so far.
Coaches have been just speaking volumes about Alyssa, left-hand side of your screen. She's just shown a sense of pride and ownership and confidence when she competes that she didn't have last year.
And Kennedy on floor, that double tuck just went straight up, and she opened up right at the exact time.
Alyssa, taking her time, rhythm is so important to the makeup of a beam routine. It can help you feel calm, or it can make you feel more nervous if you rush your routine. Alyssa is doing a nice job of breathing through this.
And Kennedy, she got a 9.95 at SEC Championships. I'm expecting that to be a big score as well.
Driving in that anchor spot, not a stuck landing, but 6 hit beam routines, and they got what a lot of people think is the most challenging event over with, and that's something to be proud of.
Going back over to the uneven bars, Jordan Bowers. Taylor, what you got?
John, you made mention of what momentum Oklahoma could take from starting on bars. It's something Jordan Bowers highlighted to me this week as well. She said, my message to the underclassmen and to myself is going to be, let it come to you. Don't make the moment too big. Walking around the corrals, I've sensed a little bit of tightness, some nerves working out. Jordan said when she does that, she has meets like she did last week in the regional final, which was 310. So good thing to aim for.
And Jordan going into the dismount, watch her knees and toes. They do not come apart. Excellent.
Last time she competed, it was perfect. She got 3 perfect 10s in one meet. Incredible.
Over on ball, this is Addie Wall from Georgia. We do have some individual qualifiers competing here at this competition. Addie Wall, she qualified from regionals as an individual on the vault.
She has such good air awareness on that vault, doesn't she?
Really does. And what's impressive is she's had to wait for 6 athletes to go in front of her. She's not here with her team, and she's basically by herself. So that's really well done. Very impressive.
I think that would be hard to compete. It's such a team environment for gymnastics. So coming in as an individual, you get your chance, but it's a different environment for them, for sure. Jocelyn Moore now, she is the anchor on floor exercise. Missouri still looking for their first 9-9 plus score. Judges across the board, though, have been tight in this first rotation.
And Jocelyn opening up with a double layout. Similar to what we were talking about on bars, judges want to see you keep that consistent body shape throughout. That skill is so difficult. The height that it requires to keep your body laid out 2 flips is really remarkable.
She just exudes swag when she's on the floor. I just am so proud of her and how coaches speak on what her influence has done to this team and the confidence she gives everyone to elevate them in the performance.
These moments right here, the choreography is very intentional to give her a moment to breathe right before she goes for her last tumbling pass. Couldn't have controlled the landing better than that.
It's really been her strength all year is to have such commanding landings. She's so sharp too, so it stands out to the judges. I did not move my feet.
I expect Jocelyn's routine to be the highest score for Missouri, and watch this first pass, legs, toes, everything completely straight.
But did you see her heel? She thought she was going to be out of bounds, so played it safe and landed on her toes. Difficult to do.
Another individual competing, this is Madison Ulrich. She's actually doing it all around. She is from Denver University.
Well done keeping her legs together. That pack salto from the high bar to low bar was really high. Judges allow for a 10-degree window right on top of the bar. I really like the toe point and the extension.
Floated that double layout.
Came up straight in that vertical position.
I think that she was squeezing every single part of her body. Well done. And from this angle, to not see any leg separation, that's impressive.
Not going to see too many double layouts better than that. In fact, I might say you won't see any. That was outstanding. And Madison qualified in the all-around here, so she's got 3 more events to go.
That's going to feel good.
Now Maya Hooten, representing my alma mater, the University of Minnesota. Here comes the gopher, tremendous floor exercise worker, one of the best gymnasts in Minnesota history. Scored a 10.0 on floor exercise 9 times. 3-time Big Ten champion on this event, also a 2-time Big Ten champion on vault as well.
Oh man, we're in for a treat.
The height on that front pike was exquisite.
No landing deduction so far.
And you know, if you want to win an individual title, you have to have the highest score from both sessions today to win it. And I hate to say it, but if you're in this first session, the scores are going to be a little bit tighter. You've got to be more than perfect. You've got to beat everybody else by a quarter of a tenth just to tie them, it feels like.
But if there's an athlete that can do it, it's Maya Hooten right here.
I love how Maya goes for the 3-pass tumbling routine. We see a lot of athletes do too. Love the extra risk. This may be one of the biggest scars of the competition so far.
And that is a career for Maya Hooten. What will it end with? We shall see at the end of the day, but great job for the Golden Gopher. They had a good season this year, finished the regular season in a tie for that 10th spot. Didn't make it here, obviously, as a team. As you see her hugging the head coach from the Gophers, Jenny Hansen.
This first tumbling pass, difficult, but makes it look so easy. Doesn't even need to grab her legs to get herself around.
And look at how the second flip is higher than the first one. That is an exclamation point. She is so expressive, so performative. She's got the dynamic tumbling. Man, she has been fun to watch. I'm gonna miss seeing that routine for years to come.
I agree. I think we could have walked under that front pike. It was so high.
An emotional moment. I remember my last time on the collegiate floor. Great career for Maya Hooten. Watch out for those Gophers. They got a new facility now. I talked to Jenny Hansen before the competition. Said it's really already helped recruiting. So look out for those Golden Gophers as we wait for Maya Hooten's score. Over on the right hand of your screen, though, look at the team score. So for those of you following, the top two, we show their team total. But the next team, in this case the Missouri Tigers, that is how far behind they are from the second place team. Same thing for Alabama. That is how far behind Florida they are right now. And if you notice, it is absolutely close. Anybody's competition, the top two teams live on and go to the NCAA finals. And right now, guys, one rotation in, it is neck and neck between all four teams. Here are your scores for your individuals in that last rotation. Mary McDonough, also here from Washington, got a 9.6 on balance beam. One rotation in here in Fort Worth. The Missouri Tigers, what a season they have had. One of the best in their history. Maybe the best they have ever had. They certainly have been undeniable.